is really about a focus on creating good, family-sustaining jobs locally. We know that for years in Essex and Windsor, under Liberal and Conservative governments, they've made a lot of promises, but things are not getting better for people and families in their lives. And we know that working people are not seeing results from these governments. Justin Trudeau had a majority for the last 4 years, and we've continued to see jobs leave our community without a plan to keep them here. It doesn't have to be this way. And as New Democrats, we've been really on the front lines with working people, fighting with them every step of the way. And with our new deal for Windsor Essex, we're showing people in our communities that New Democrats will fight for good, quality jobs and protection for workers. And we know that Justin Trudeau works for the interests of the super rich. We've seen that throughout this parliament. But New Democrats work for you. We're in it for you, and we work hard for you in our community. We'll fight to make sure that the auto industry is ready for the future with a national automotive strategy and restoring the Auto Innovation Fund to help secure the next generation capacity. If we had these two things, would we be seeing the job losses that we are? We don't have a plan here for auto jobs, and we continue to see losses, and New Democrats know that better is possible. We'll fight to keep good jobs and create good jobs here at home in Windsor and Essex by offering rebates for made-in-Canada zero-emission vehicles. And we were on the front lines of the fight to make sure that the only Canadian-made vehicle was included in the last budget, and fighting for the workers here at FCA. We are talking about a home retrofitting program. When we talk about climate change, we're talking about a jobs plan. We know that there are many jobs that could be created, to thousands of jobs, honestly, that would help to retrofit, and we would be having a savings of families in their homes of $900 or more on your energy costs. We all know the cost of energy in our region is very high, and families are struggling under that. We would also give Windsor Essex a raise by making sure that the federal minimum wage is $15 an hour. We need a minimum wage that is a livable wage in our community. There's been a battle in our province that has been stopped by the Ford government. We need New Democrats down here to make sure that working people are paid fairly. And no one who works over 40 hours should be living in poverty in our region or any place in Canada. We want to make sure that the auto industry is ready for the future, and that means innovation. So the money going into the Innovation Fund means that we'll foster that and scale it up right here and keep those manufacturing jobs at home. We can save families thousands of dollars on the rebates for zero-emission vehicles, and that's something that we're strongly committed to doing with an eye to vehicles that are made here in Canada. And how about we lead by example? And when we're using our government dollars, when we're using procurement, that we make sure that we are looking at Canadian-made vehicles. We need to use our tax dollars responsibly, and that means supporting our auto industry across Canada. So these are things that we believe in strongly, are part of our new deal for working people. We have been standing shoulder to shoulder with working people across Essex and Labour in the fight to keep good jobs in our community and to create the good jobs of the future. And that's something that our new deal for us here in Windsor Essex focuses on strongly.
Okay. Yes, and we know when we're talking about affordability and families, people are struggling, they can't pay for their prescription costs. And that is something that we are really looking forward to championing in a strong way, because more and more people are hearing and sharing each other's stories. Sometimes there's a stigma attached, or there's a shame, a discomfort in sharing the kind of struggle that you're going through. And so when we started talking about prescription costs, everyone rose up and started talking about actually the efficiencies of it. When you think of the efficiency to our healthcare system, when you add our prescription costs to the cost of our healthcare system, the way other OECD nations with national healthcare programs do, that we are saving. We're saving billions of dollars. It's $4.2 billion just in hospitals alone. So we know that we have to keep our focus on this and champion this. And now that we have this huge discussion really resonating with people, and it's really reached a crescendo with this election and going door to door, more and more people are talking about this now. So it's important for us to reiterate that the Liberals have had 4 years of neglecting this issue. We keep pressing this issue. They've had the evidence and the expertise since 1997 to do a pharmacare plan. We're going to press forward and champion that this gets done. And then it's not just about prescriptions. When people start talking about the realities and how we all have to live, these costs that keep getting added onto regular everyday Canadians, well, there's, corporate giveaways. I mean, we had like $14 billion in corporate giveaways in the last Liberal budget. And, collecting $3 billion in interest on our student debt. Like, it's ridiculous because that money is not reinvested back into students in universities, and we're not getting money back for us for the healthcare system. So we need these clear and concise proposals that actually share an economic argument for why we should be doing this. So besides the debt, besides the healthcare, is the dental. We have 4.5 million people with absolutely no dental coverage, and all of our dentists will tell you that oral health is extremely important to your overall health, and it is costing our healthcare system. Last year it cost $150 million for dental emergencies in our healthcare system. So that is something we definitely have to address as well, and we cannot afford to neglect this anymore. We can't afford to kick this can down the road, so to speak, and let people work it out for themselves. Working people are now, this is an anomaly that we never would have heard of before. If you're working 40 hours a week, you should not be poor. And this idea of being working poor, like Tracey was alluding to, this is what's really troubling right now. And we have to make sure that we're investing in programs like pharmacare and dental care for people so that we can come out strong, and so that when people are working, they can give back to their communities and be healthy. That's the purpose of government. And it takes courage to stand up. That's what we're going to do, to stand up and make sure that government is actually providing those services that are beneficial to every Canadian, not just a corporate agenda.
I'm going to finish, good morning. I'm going to finish with 4 major points that are important for Essex Windsor. Since it's in Windsor Wester, we want to welcome our Essex County friends. And it's important to note that our region really punches above its weight for our country. And that hasn't been respected by, I think, some of the measures in Ottawa that's taken place over the years, because we have been able to get results and get achievements like the Gordie Howe Bridge and other initiatives down here for auto investment. We're always having to fight to be on the defense. And so what's exciting about the new deal that we're proposing here, it's about going on the offense. It's about being proactive. And one of the things that gives us great great joy at times, but also great pains, is our mobile phones. One of the things that we have declared as New Democrats, different than the Conservatives and the Liberals, is this is now an essential service. The phone is something that we use to keep in touch with our loved ones. It's something we need for our employment. It's something we need for our work and also for our school. As well, obviously, people use it for entertainment. All those things wrapped up into one. But it shouldn't be so painful all the time. Canada has done a spectrum auction system, and many people don't understand this, where the Conservatives and Liberals have collected $20 billion of revenue from the large telecoms and other suppliers, and they've taken that money and they've done things like buy pipelines with it. What they haven't done is lower your fees and your services and increased accountability. So our digital bill of rights will do a couple things. It will actually protect your privacy, it will lower fees, and more importantly, over the terms and conditions, your rights as a citizen will be protected, similar in the digital world as well as in the physical world. So that gives you empowerment, especially given the fact that we pay some of the highest prices in the world, and that needs to stop. And our capping has already worked. A number of companies have already brought in capping prices thanks to our policies. I also want to talk about with regards to pensions in this area. We've seen a number of different businesses over the years lose their pensions, including my brother, when I remember at Windsor Plastics. There's been others at Tool and Die Mold Makers, and there's also been, most recently, Sears workers. Pensions are a deferred wage. It's a simple change of legislation that would take literally minutes, that would put workers at the forefront. Having them actually go through bankruptcy and the trauma over years to fight for the scraps that are left over is cruel and inhumane punishment for a contractual obligation that took money off their paycheck and also from the employer for them and their futures. And when we don't protect them, that falls back on the taxpayers because we have to pick up the slack from some of the corporate greed and scandals that went to the loss of those jobs to begin with. And Sears is the classic example right now. I want to move with regards to our young people as well. in Windsor, in this area, we've had successful schools, and look at St. Clair College, University of Windsor. How is it possible the students from those areas that we represent, our sons, our daughters, our neighbors, have given back to the government $3 billion in interest charged to them from the debt they've incurred from actually getting student loans? That is outrageous. That is loan shark tactics against our young people that needs to stop. And for the Prime Minister to personally continue this type of an arrangement, while at the same time writing off $6 billion in large corporate taxes, gone, buying Loblaws fridges, gone, and also making sure that they don't crack down on offshore accounts where there's about $14 billion available there. We're actually charging interest on our future students and our future workers is unacceptable. So we would end that practice with also interest-free loans for students, cease and desist putting them back when they're finished their education, because we all know when you finish your education, it's still tough to get a job out there, and having compounding interest when your own government's benefiting is outright criminal. Now, I want to continue with a couple of things that are more as well as important, and I'll finish up is this rental. The rental affects everything from mental health, and that's one of the reasons we actually showcase this location. Canada had a great build at one time. After the Second World War, we built a lot of homes and units that are still on this market today. But when you look at Windsor Essex and the skyrocketing home prices, sure, you can actually sell your home, but at the same time, can you buy another place? And that's the real challenge, as people age and want to look at different types of options. And more importantly, even people that are renting are getting squeezed right now. So we would immediately bring in a program for 500,000 units across this country on a build program that would create jobs, and we know the building industry is also very much localized, so we would benefit it very much here in this area. And second to that, we could actually green part of that economy that spills over in other areas. We'd also immediately have a $5,000 rental subsidy, so that those that don't have money for food, that don't have money for school, and that are struggling day by day, and we see this in the breakfast programs every single morning in our communities, would have a little bit more to be able to get by right now. So I'll conclude with this, is that the Liberals have had a strong majority the last number of years, and what have they done with it? They bought a pipeline they didn't tell you about. That's a $4.5 billion investment there. Then it's also going to expand it as over $11 million. Then we're debt financing that for generations to come. They've talked about democratic reform. They never brought in democratic reform that they had. They can't be trusted when they have basically an unfettered, unaccountable process in front of them with the majority. The Conservatives, well, it was interesting because even when they were a minority with Stephen Harper, it was Trudeau that was propping him up and giving him the green light day after day in the House of Commons. We want to make sure that their cuts don't continue, and I know that Tracey and Cheryl in the past have been the ones that have actually beaten Conservatives and have fought for making sure that cuts don't happen to our community. As New Democrats, we'll go to Ottawa and fight for you. We'll work for you every step along the way. We're proud of what we have in this area and these options that we have. I remember the days of Jack Layton. They're similar to Jagmeet Singh. We're in proposition, not opposition, to go on the forefront, to go on the progressive side, to make sure that we're working on issues on a regular basis and proposing solutions. These are reasonable, practical, doable, and they're just about a matter of choices. So thank you very much, and I appreciate the time you spent here this morning.